Hey there and good afternoon traders. This is Trader Tim from eminimind.com doing a Monday market analysis video here on the E-mini S&P. You can see on my daily chart we've broken our swing high from the 29th of April. Very significant. Also significant that we weren't able to, we didn't really see much selling pressure come when we approached that high. We sort of made a double top here and then fell down and retested this extension long that I have. And so I'll leave that extension up until we either break the 61.8 or come up and complete the target and start to sell off. Now, we've got a 3,000 above us. Those big round numbers tend to act as magnets. And then just above that, the negative 23 is 30.23. So it's likely that we can get there here this week, just for the fact that, breaking above the swing high and with the selling that we had last week on Tuesday, Wednesday, we really didn't see much follow through. We had a move lower on Thursday after the open, but then that was bought up and we rallied pretty strong into the close. And so the failure point that I've been using, or I still am using, is the 27.1725, just that swing low. I want to see that break. Which would also mean the 61.8 would break here, 27.48s, and then I would come in and draw a short like that and kind of go heavy on the short side. But for the time being, just kind of holding in this extension long, making our second run up, if you will. We had the run up here, double top, sold off, double bottom, another push up. Market's not quite closed, couple minutes to go here, but this week, we're kind of in this rumor rally, if you will, where here in the U.S. a lot of businesses and restaurants are starting to reopen. People are coming outside and getting excited for springtime. Weather's getting good, and so there's speculation on vaccines and whatnot for the COVID. We don't really know what the outcome's going to be. We've got to wait a couple weeks for that data to come in. Our case is going to spike. Are they going to stay the same? What will the jobs look like? Will people return to their jobs? Will they not return to their jobs? And so we could have a week here or a week or two of kind of a rumor rally, if you will. And then once the data comes out, that's when you might see the decline. If we sell off hard in these last we only got 2 minutes and then the 15 minutes after the bell rings here. You could certainly make the case for a triple top, but we would need to see today's low broken. And then if we were to break today's low and you go back to the gaps, well, there's a lot of room for us to go from today's low down to the close of Friday, which would be the gap fill. But if you look to the upside, we came awfully close to this 63.75. And then above that, we have a 97 and then a 30.1675. So there's some upside gap fills just above us that kind of help us get to the negative 23. And so this week will be, I think, pretty enlightening in terms of what the outcome is based off of today's trade. So watch for where we open tomorrow and then which way we move. If we just open up and we're inside of today's range, that's not very useful or not very great for trading. But if we open up, even if we open up inside of today's range, but we move below today's low, then watch for acceleration that could take us lower. If we move above today's high, watch for acceleration that could end up taking us higher. But if we just kind of dip below today's low by a few ticks, we get a low tick and then we rally, well, that shows that there's buying coming in. As far as intraday goes, the last couple of days we've had these triangles that can make it pretty tricky right at the open to trade. When we start to get kind of some lower highs and higher lows at the same time, you get these triangles forming like this, and it makes it a challenging open. Now today, with such a big gap up, you kind of have to expect some sideways movement when the gap is so big. But what I like to do on these retracements, I'm typically Mondays I will slow play into the day, not get too aggressive right at the open. Today we had breadth and advanced decline line very strong and plus 2,000 on the advanced decline line all day. So pretty much uh, passing on shorts as they come up and buying the dips is what you want to do in that kind of a situation. So the first long today broke, failed at 61.8. The second one was a short, but passing on the short, it got a little bit of a momentum, but not enough to break the swing low. And then once we broke above the downtrend line, or if you want to call it the swing high here, or the 61.8, once we started breaking out of that triangle, just taking from the low before the 61.8 was broken to the high that broke the 61.8 is what gives you that pullback to the 50% and kind of kicks off the rally. Sometimes these triangles don't always pull back to the 50%. The breakout can be strong enough where you only get a 30% pullback, and they're hard to get in. But today's was pretty decent. And then Friday, same kind of a thing. Super big range. Friday was inside the prior day, so that's your first indication that it's going to be a challenging morning. But the first long here, it did touch its 50% and get a little bit of a bounce, but not enough, again, to break the swing high. And then seeing the higher low put in down here, higher low put in, lower high, so you're getting that triangle formation. If you can kind of patiently wait for the triangle to approach its apex like this and get that breakout, you get the breakout, and then you can come in and grab from the swing low before the breakout to the swing high, and then get your pullback to the 50% and ride it out. So, but those triangles are pretty tough in the moment. So you just want to be careful if you're opening up with an inside day, like you're inside the prior day's range. Friday started off looking like we could move to the upside earlier and break out. We had a strong uptrend, we pulled back, got its 50% touch, and then started moving higher. But then when you see that rollover, you say, okay, well, we're still within the that inside day, and we broke above the first 30-minute range ever so slightly here. Let me pull up the 30-minute chart. Broke above the first 30-minute range, but then sold off back into it. So here's the first 30-minute bar. We just had a tail going up and then falling back into it. And then the rest of the time in that triangle was spent within the first 30-minute range. So that's a pretty tough situation to be trading in at the time. So if you can just kind of become familiar with that triangle or that break above the 30-minute range and then pull back to it, inside it, you can be a little bit better positioned to be patient at the open and then get in a trade a little bit later as the market starts to finally get that momentum. We've seen the volatility sliding a fair bit here, and still down in the mid 20s, upper 20s rather, mid to upper 20s. Still using a 2-point stop intraday with the ES. There was one trade last week I was stopped out to the tick. So you could still use a 3-point, but by and large, 2 points has been working fine for the 512 tick chart. If you're going to trade just right off the 5-minute, just drawing up your retracement and then putting your stop below the 61.8, that's still a pretty small window lately. We've had some the ranges have not been huge. So, if you're getting in at like a 29.30 and you got your stop at 28, that in itself is only 2 points. And this was a pretty small one, also visible on the 512. But just be conscious of that distance between the 50 and the 61 if you're going to take the trades outright on the, on like a 5 or a 15-minute chart. When the ranges come down, there's a lot more opportunities to do that. But when volatility is really high, then you really have to just turn to the 512 and execute over there. So if you have questions, feel free to put them in the comments below. And tomorrow is Tuesday, which means we'll be doing a live trading session over at eminimind.com/VIP. We got Jerome Powell speaking, I believe, tomorrow, which tends to lead to a little bit of a decline after he speaks, but we'll see if that holds true tomorrow. And I hope everyone has a great week of trading. We'll talk to you soon.